to the first video of the new series Jank or Genius, where we take off-meta decks, interesting strategies, or sometimes just a little bit off-the-wall ones that have appeared in the 5.0 list, or maybe some that have just tickled my fancy on a certain day and decided to run them through a league. The objective here is just to find out if some of the more fringe strategies in Modern have some game, if they can compete with the big boys, and just generally to see what kind of fun we can have on the channel. Speaking of what kind of fun, a list appeared in the 5.0 list on MTG Goldfish on the 26th of this month. It was a classic archetype, or a twist on a classic archetype, not very commonly seen in Modern. It's a staple of Legacy. It's Temur Delver, or Rug Delver. The original list is just over here. It was by a guy called Beaker07. What really caught my eye about this was just the very interesting sort of one-off Grim Lavamancer. See, any Delver list that's quite light on counter-based interaction. You know, this is very heavily basing itself around sort of like the is it prowess style of build, which is not really commonly seen in Delver. So I took the list, I made a couple of minimal changes to the main. I swapped one of the Attackers commands for a Snapcaster Mage, and the Grim Lavamancer for a secondary Swiftspear. In the side I made a couple of changes. I dropped the Ashiok, I dropped the Abrade, Surgical, Blazing Volley, brought in another Cleansing Wildfire, 2 Shattering Sprees, and the 3rd Tormod's Crypt. The reasoning for that I'll get into in a moment, but in the main, the reason I wanted to get the extra Snapcaster Mage is we are exceptionally heavy on the 1-drop slot, and just having the extra option to go Snap Bolt, or even just sort of like with Wizard's Lightning, Attackers Command, these are just useful plays to have, and because we are quite counter light with only 3 Spell Pierce in the main, I really wanted to make use of those limited numbers with buybacks through Snapcaster. I've been a big fan of Delver lists, just on and off. It's not something I really usually play. I usually tend to stick to the mid-range or combo kind of stuff, but I thought I'd give it a go for this one. Practice games were interesting. I beat a couple of meta decks, beat Primeval Titan, Tron, Esper Control, lost to Rock 3 times in a row. That was pretty bad, but then Rock Jund are tough matchups for Delver. The cards that really didn't perform well were Attackers Command. It really wasn't great. Wizard's Lightning was suspect, obviously. It requires the Wizard subtype, which we have 15 Wizards. The only 2 are the Swiftspears, which are monks as opposed to wizards. An interaction which will become clear and probably is going to come up is the Delver does actually change its type. When it flips, it goes from a human wizard over to a human insect. Obviously that means that it doesn't fulfill the criteria for Wizard's Lightning. I have no doubt that will come up at some point, but I'm going to try and keep the lists as much as humanly possible faithful to their original versions. So with that in mind, let's run this through a league and see how it goes. So we are back here for match number 1 against Monochrome 94. We're taking the play. Good luck, have fun to our opponent, and it's quite an interesting hand. We get to go turn 1 either Delver or Soulscar Mage, then seems not a Serum Visions might be able to set up. Quite like this, just get a Steam Vents, play out a Delver, then next turn we could probably Soulscar or Swiftspear into Sleight of Hand. Yeah, I like this. Needs a bit of work, but I think we can certainly make it happen. So let's go for the blind flip off the Delver, hopefully, in our next turn. Get the Steam Vent, play out a Delver. Hopefully have our opponent questioning what year it is. Okay, so we have an Auntie's Hovel, revealing Mog War Marshal, and Aether Vial from our opponent. So, will the Delver flip? No, unfortunately not. We go Fiery Islet. I think we do want to race and then try and set up to get a bolt off this Sleight of Hand. So, with that in mind, I'll play out the Fiery Islet, get the Soul Scar Mage down, get him for 1. I think finding a Vapor Snag or some kind of interaction is going to be key here. Find a Dreadhold Arcanist. Not a bad one, so we'll take that. Let's say go to our opponents. So Goblins are probably one of the grindier mid-range decks we could have faced. They are exceptionally resilient and have a much better card advantage than we do with the Matrons and Ringleader, I believe it is. Churn through the deck very quickly, tutoring up the correct piece of interaction to the need or combo piece. 2 mana, we're probably going to see a War Marshal here. We do indeed. See another Dreadhold Arcanist. Not ideal. So I'm going to crack the Islet here. Find a Delver. So we've been stonewalled a bit here. I'll just play out another Delver, hopefully we can get a flip next turn. Really punished for not playing more cantrips. Ideally I think those sleight of hands could be better as ops or something like that. I don't know. But certainly not fantastic showing at the moment. The Vial ticks up 2 for our opponent. They don't pay the Echo on the War Marshal. And we get a Blood Crypt shocked in. The Vial's tapped. See another War Marshal. So they're going very wide. Okay, followed by Goblin Chieftain. That is a lot of damage. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, I'm definitely not going to block there. Okay, we see an Atarka's Command. So we do get the flips on the Delvers, that's nice. So we can, if we play out the Swift Spear, block all of their creatures next turn using this Atarka's Command. So I think we're incentivized to do that. Then next turn we'll be able to get in for 6 in the air. We'll probably do +1/+1 reach and then deal 3 to them. Use it defensively, it's not ideal, but I think we have to, unfortunately, otherwise we are just dead. They're probably not going to pay the Echo cost here. It doesn't matter as they'll still get a 2/2 with haste. Okay, Aether Vial ticked up to 3 and being activated here. Golden Matron, another 2/2 with haste, so they get to tutor up whatever they want here. Probably going to see a... I can't Slingang, need 1 more mana I think. Or is it a 5-drop? It is safe to say we're dead here. Yep, Slingang, which is a 4-drop. Okay, so if they've got a land, then we are in fact dead. Okay, so we've got 4 free blocks here. We'll do this. So we'll deal 3 damage to them, give our creatures +1/+1 and reach. Hopefully we don't see a Goblin Grenade or a Grixis Munitions Expert, but we do. Probably going to save the Matron here. Okay, no, they decide to save a Goblin, kill a Delver. don't think there's any point showing them more of our deck. All they have to do is untap, then goes with Sling Gang. We'd need to remove. Yeah, let's just wrap it up there. Go to game 2. So against their deck, we definitely want the Cannonade. Spell Pierce isn't fantastic. I mean, can tag a Vial, but other than that, it doesn't really do a lot. They might be ringing Thought Seizers, but it's not a fantastic one. I think I'll take out the Spell Pierces. Bring in 2 Veils, 1 Cannonade, and go from there. Okay, a bit land heavy, but got turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Snapcaster. We can use that to buy back mutagenic growth. All in all, not too shabby. We get to do it quite painlessly as well. Okay, Black Leaf Cliffs from our opponent. We won't reveal another Delver. We'll just get in for 1 here. Play a Delver. Play a Scalding Tarn. To reveal Conspicuous Snoop here. With Pashlik Mons on top, that is pretty bad. So we're going to get a Stomping Ground tapped. To reveal off the top, we see a Sleight of Hand, so we'll reveal that off both of our Delvers. Play an Island. I think we'll get in for 6 in the air. Use the Sleight of Hand now to see if we can find a Wizard's Lightning or a Vapor Snag, or a Lightning Bolt. We find a Vapor Snag, which isn't too bad. Can use the mutagenic growth defensively if we need to. So they could combo kill us out here. So we're going to Vapor Snag the Snoop. So they put a Munitions Expert on top, that's fine. We've got the mutagenic growth here, so that's 6. Can't quite kill them with the mutagenic, snap mutagenic, so we'll get in for 6 in the air. Put them down to 7. They reveal the Munitions Expert with the Auntie's Hovel that we saw earlier. We're going to see the Snoop, I'd imagine. Yep, we do indeed. And I think they're going to play out another Expert. Okay, we'll wait till we see what they're targeting. There's no point paying life unnecessarily, so we'll use that to save our Delver. They get in for 2 with the Harbinger. Just to note, the 1 point of damage that we missed from that turn 2 attack did actually end up becoming relevant. What happens when you decide to record a video after a 10-hour workday? No excuses, of course, but... So another land, so we'll move to combat here. Swing in with the Delvers. Flash in a Snapcaster Mage. We could kill them in a number of ways. We could bounce one of their creatures, but we'll just target the mutagenic growth as the opponent sees what's happening and concedes. Okay, going into game number 3. I think we were definitely correct to bring Veils in over Spell Piercer. It does hit Thought Seizers, Munitions Experts, whereas the Spell Pierce really only hits an Aether Vial or a Thought Seize. So we'll run it back there. Okay, the opponent has chosen to take the play and is keeping 7. This one is... I do think this is a trap. It's got 2 points of interaction with 3 lands, a cantrip, but absolutely no threats. So I'm going to have to mulligan this. Not got red mana, but we have got plenty of threats. So I'm going to bottom the Soulscar Mage. Hopefully we can find a red source off this sleight of hand. We'll play a Delver out turn 1. Probably get it bolted if it's not Thought Seized here. Nope, playing a Skirk Prospector. I really would like to kill that. Nope, doesn't look like we're going to get the opportunity to, so we'll play a Delver here. I now know I now know what it feels like when you always see in Legacy, you see the Delver player always has it on turn 1. Now I know how it feels. So they get a chance to remove this one, or we'll just play another. Looks like we're getting a Mog War Marshal. Nope, a Chalice on 1. That is exceptionally good against our deck. So we've got a Serum Visions off the Delver. Let's just move these over to the castable side of our hand. I may play out a Snapcaster Mage just so that we can turn on Wizard's Lightning should we actually draw it. I should have identified the fact that Goblins are a Chalice deck. One of the reasons that we've got the Shattering Sprees in, so that when they do put a Chalice on 1 we can pay the extra Replicate and then use those to hit the Chalice. Means we don't have to have clunky cards like Abrade in our deck, which of course people know decks like ours are going to have, so they tend to put Chalices on 2. We however are hugely punished for not identifying that, and pretty much have about 26 cards, I think, the 26 or 28 cards of our deck now completely useless. The temptation to ambush Viper the Skirk Prospector here is quite high. I think I am actually going to do that. It's one of the best cards in their deck. It looks quite unassuming, but it really allows all the most busted starts their deck can have. This looks very strange, but it's just going to slow the game right down, slow their ability just to generate a lot of mana, and we have not got a lot going on. We haven't even got Atarka's Command online, as we haven't got access to red at the moment. We find an island, so we'll crack the grove, try and see if we can find a red source. We do. We choose not to pay for the echo cost on War Marshal and get in for 1 here. So they kept quite a slow hand reliant on this Prospector and Chalice. Okay, 2 mana here. Is it going to be a Snoop? No, it's going to be another Chalice on 1. I don't know it, but we do have a 3-turn clock. If we just find a Wizard's Lightning, then that'd be fantastic. as it stands, I'll probably crack the Fiery Islet on end step. Try to shorten the clock a little bit. If we see a Slingang Lieutenant, then that will probably signify the end of the game, but 4 mana is probably a Ringleader, I think. No, a Chalice on 2, so what we're going to do is deal 3 damage, put a land card onto the battlefield, play out an island. We're going to fetch Steam Vents on the end step. It really is the little Delver that could. If they hadn't had that Chalice, just imagine how much further ahead we would be. No, Veil doesn't do it, so let's get in for 3 here. So we'll just go to end step. So we don't want to see a Munitions Expert, I'm trying to think, it's the 5 mana one that allows you to sack Goblins and deal damage. Slingang Commander, I think it is. I'd rather not see that. Although again, that does stop, because we killed the Prospector, they're not able just to start sacking Goblins to then use those abilities. So again, as weird as it looked, I do think we were correct to do that. And at the moment they haven't got a quick clock, so we could have snuck this one out. Obviously we still could draw something. It looks like they found a Munitions Expert, but it is unfortunately countered by their own Chalice. And they scoop it up. we did not deserve to win this, just because I completely forgot. And I'll hold my hand up and say that I did forget they are a Chalice of the Void deck. Ooh, okay, so scraped by in that one, and I will see you again for match number 2. Welcome back for match number 2. We're on play again versus Mint, and so good luck, have fun to our opponent. So quite a slow hand here. We get to turn 1 Spell Pierce, then what, Snap, then say go, Snapcaster. I think we need something a little bit faster. Okay, this is better. We've got both our colours, 3 threats and a cantrip, so we'll keep this, ditch the mountain. Just going to run out the Delver and see what comes of that. Okay, Steam Vents from our opponent. Looks like Storm, Blue-Red Prowess, could be either of those. It's like 1 top, 1 bottom from the scry. Do we get a blind flip? We do not, so we'll keep that to ourselves. I think I want to just set up here, so I'm going to get in for 1 with the Delver, actually attack this time. Play out a Soulscar Mage, followed by a second. As they go. This is a very aggressive start. If we can go Swift Spear, Sleight of Hand, draw a land, then maybe get a Bolt, plus a Delver Flip, we could have a seriously fast clock. So I'm going to say no to the Snapcaster. I'm going to play out a Swift Spear into 2 untapped blue mana. Sleight of Hand here, a lot of prowess triggers. We find a Delver and a Misty, so I'm going to put the Misty into hand. Next turn we can Snapcaster and Sleight of Hand should we need to. I imagine we're going to see a flurry of removal spells from our opponent here. A couple of bolts, maybe some burst lightnings, could be vapor snags, could be all sorts of different things. Lava dart, could be a repeal. Interesting. So this is probably Storm with a main deck repeal. Get another Steam Vents, play out the Soul Scar again. We can find a Bolt, that'd be fantastic. We could Bolt, flip Delver, that'd be great. If they shock in here, they're going to be taking a lot of damage. They choose not to. And they play Ibaral, so we correctly identify that they are in fact Storm. And we see a Wizard's Lightning. Fantastic. So let's do the maths here. So if we Bolt Baral, then we're getting in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we Bolt them, we're getting in for, so they're putting down to 7, down to 4. So yeah, bolting them is the correct play. As they can only block 1, they'll block here, and then take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, lethal exactly. So let's go for that. So we'll go up top here, yield to these triggers. And that is Xaxes. Good to see. Let's go to game number 2 after sideboarding. So we're going to bring in the Dispel for their cards we want that to be for Gifts Ungiven, things like that. Probably going to bring in a couple of Tormod's Crypts. I think the Mutagenic Growth is a bit suspect. Spell Pierce I quite like. Probably going to shave on one Ataka's Command. And what else do we want to shave on? 17 creatures is quite high. Might just be a Soulscar Mage or an Arcanist. The Arcanist is good if he decides to get grindy. I'm going to shave on a Soulscar here. So let's send that back and go into game number 2. Okay, back here for game number 2 against Storm. We've got both our colours, we've got 2 Dreadhordes, 2 Sleight of Hands and a Spell Pierce. Very slow. Not quite the interaction that I wanted. I prefer if we had a Delver. I'm gonna mulligan on the draw. Be a bit greedy. This is a lot better. So we've got Misty Rainforest, get both our colours. We can send back one of these Wizard's Lightnings. Keep up the Tormod's Crypt. Yeah, okay, I like this. Cantrip, Permission, Removal, and Burn, Threat, Hate Piece, and yeah. There's one of everything. So they're not going to be so aggressive with their life total here. We, however, are going to Shock Fetch and get Steam Vents. I'm just going to do a little bit of setup. I'm going to Serum Visions here. Yep, try and find a land and a Sleight of Hand, so we'll bottom that, top the land. Next turn we can play out a Delver and then protect it with a Spell Pierce. Which is what we're going to do. And hold on to this Tormod's Crypt until the last possible minute. Chivalry, so they are Fetchless Storm. Playing around Spell Pierce, they didn't see it in game 1 I don't think, but let's get a Breeding Pool here. Just tax their mana a little bit. I don't want them to play a Mana Bear now. Yep, so they are going to pay. That's fine with me. Get to untap, play a Dreadhorde. I do play a Swift Spear, which I think actually is better here. So we'll sleight of hand, see if we find a land. Find a Snapcaster and a Lightning Bolt. I haven't got the third land. If we had the third land, I'd be tempted to take the Snapcaster, then we can snap a Spell Pierce or Serum Visions. As it stands, I'm going to take the Lightning Bolt, get in for 2. Got 6 cards in hand, 4 mana. If they've got a bear, they probably should be able to put together some form of a win here. You would have thought anyway. Okay, so we've got a Desperate Ritual, Lightning Bolt, and an Empty the Warrens. Okay. Play out a Dreadhorde Arcanist here, followed by a Tormod's Crypt. It's like a repeal, it could be. It's the Lundy Vision. Okay, let's look at the top 6, reveal an instant or sorcery. Let's see what they've got. So they have an Abrade. Okay. I assume that's going to be going straight at our Dreadhorde. It is. So if we fetch Bolt here, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next turn we'll Wizard's Lightning, that'll be 9. Still need a creature. I think let's just scoop it up there. Woodlock Grove, that one's done. Yeah, we were very dead there. Off the back of that, I think I'm going to shave on the Vapor Snags. The other option is we could just ignore their graveyard, bring back in the Atarka's Command, bring in the Fiery Cannonade, keep the Vapor Snags in, and then on the play just ignore their graveyard. Just try and be as quick as possible, which I do quite like actually. So one Spell Pierce for a Mutagenic Growth, Darkers for Mutagenic, so if we are going to be as fast as possible, that's how we do it, so let's go with that. Bit of a risky one, but we'll take the play. It's not bad, so we can Seven Visions to try and find a threat, or an extra land for this Dreadhorde. Yeah, I think it's worth the risk, and keeping on 6. So we see a Vapor Snag, then we've got a Snapcaster and a Misty, so I'm going to bottom the Snapcaster, top the Misty, as they go. Spirebuff Canal into Serum Visions for our opponent. They go top for their cards. So I'll play a Misty. We have cut the all bar 1 Atarka's Command, so we could get an island here. Try and conserve a bit of our life total. We are probably going to Mutagenic Growth to save the Dreadhorde should they threaten a bolt. So, do we want to take the extra damage? Probably not, so we'll get an island. Play out the Dreadhorde Arcanist. And we'll say go. Hopefully they just play out a Lavamancer or something similar, which we can then start to Vapor Snag. Again, we'll use the Mutagenic Growth defensively if I have to. Raid, yep, so as we said. get to buy back a Serum Visions next turn. So get the value train going, show why this card is banned in Legacy. That's much more impressive with Brainstorm. So I'll get back a Serum Visions here. We draw a Tarkus command, we've got a Wizard's Lightning and a Scalding Tarn. Top the Tarn, top the Lightning. Play out a Delver. We can hold up Spell Pierce should we need it. We can hold up Wizard's Lightning just on end step to burn their face, remove a creature. We can Vapor Snag one of their creatures. We can Vapor Snag to defend one of ours. So we'll probably Spell Pierce this. They may pierce back. Nope. So they go to shock in a Steam Vents, it seems. Yep. Are we going to see a creature here? Or an Abrade? Nope, Manamorphose. Into red-blue just to draw a card. Grape Shot to wipe our board. That's pretty good. There's a lot of spells they've just had to cast there, so I'd like to see another Mana Bear. Start to Vapor Snag, but could really do with a threat right now. We know we've got a land on top, that's not ideal. Or they're just setting up here. Can't even fire these bolts at their face. The downside of Wizard's Lightning. Okay, Snow-Covered Island, and an Aria of Flame. Okay, it looks like the opponent is going to start to chain spells together. They're going to go to 24, but we are going to die very quickly. So we'll just get a Stomping Ground, start pointing things at their face here. Serum Visions. Found a Mutagenic Growth, a Sleight of Hand which will bottom, Soul Scar which will top, and say go. So we can burn them with a Tarkus command next turn if we really want to, but we could very easily be dead here. There's an Empty the Warrens for our opponent. Did we bring in the Cannonade? We did. Let's just return one of these now while we can. Then we'll play out the Soul Scar Mage. Don't need double red, so we can't quite a Tarkus command and Wizard's Lightning and play the Soul Scar Mage. So more like red than green, so we need the blue for the Vapor Snag, this for the Soul Scar. If they don't threaten to kill us, I may try and save it all for one turn and just kill them. I don't think we'll get a chance to, unfortunately. So they Echoing Truth targeting the Soul Scar Mage. Not a lot we can do there. I'm going to take this, just going to play for maximum upside. Another Empty the Warrens as their last card for turn. I think that is us dead. Whilst we aren't technically dead, so Soulscar can block one of these. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down to 3. If they have any instant or sorcery, then we do die. But we can deal 3, 6. We get a Snapcaster, then we can buy back a Wizard's Lightning. I think we are dead, but I will wait for confirmation. They could break next turn. Yep, that is it, unfortunately. 7 visions, that deals 4 to us. Then the attack, we can kill 1, block 1. Yep, that is lethal, unfortunately. Bad way to go out. So I'll say GG's, and I will see you again for match number 3. Welcome back for match number 3. We're against Chinara POV, or Chinarapov, however it is pronounced. So we've got classic Snapcaster, Spell Pierce, 2 bolt effects. I think this is worth keeping. Nearly forgot to say, good luck, have fun. And the opponent is mulliganing to 6 here. So we can get Breeding Pool tapped on the end step and get all of our colours. Hopefully we don't have to Spell Pierce anything, but I will take the damage if we have to. So we're against Burn. Deep Joy. Stomping Ground untapped from our opponent. Into Shriekhorn. I'll definitely fetch and shock to Spell Pierce a Shriekhorn. Opponent's probably thinking, what deck plays Breeding Pool Spell Pierce? Am I against Infect? So let's further confuse them with a Serum Visions. And we'll bottom both of those as we find a Misty Rainforest off it. Let's play that out. Another Shriekhorn from our opponent. Unfortunately, we have to let that go. They hit a Stinkweed Imp and a Snow-Covered Mountain. So do they have the Haggle? They do indeed. So they do get to start the dredging here. This does seem like quite a difficult matchup for Delver. So they discard a Bloodcast with that Haggle, dredge the Stinkweed Imp, puts in Arid Mesa, 3 life from the Loam, and a Stomping Ground. As far as things go, that is not too shabby, so we're going to Steam Vents and tapped here. Put in another Misty Rainforest so we can hold up, Snap and Spell Pierce, otherwise we can Bolt, Snap, Bolt to get a clock down next turn. Which I think that's probably the best course of action. Hopefully they try and get a bit greedy and Cathartic Reunion. No, they do mill one though, and a Shriekhorn. So we're going to see one of the Life from the Loam's Dredge, which we do. It finds a Narcomoeba and a Conflagrate. I will certainly be spell piercing that if they go for it. So they go for a Life from the Loam here. Yeah, I think we've just got to let that go, unfortunately. So they get the Blood Gas back. Luckily, no prized amalgams so far. So we'll get a Stomping Ground. Do we just bolt the Narcomoeba now? Probably not the best idea. We'll play a Soulscar Mage though, that is pretty good. If they don't play a land next turn, then we can Spell Pierce the Conflagrate. If they do, then, well, maybe in a bit of trouble. They find 2 more Cathartic Reunions with that last Shriekcorn activation. They can now Dredge 3 again with the Life from the Loam. They find a Stinkweed Imp and 2 Prized Amalgams. So we definitely can't block the Bloodghast here. Yep, going in with both. That'll be no blocks here. Puts us down to 12. 2 mana is going to be another Cathartic Reunion. Conflagrate could be just casting a Life from the Loam. Okay, so it looks like they're targeting their own Bloodghast here to play a land, get back the Prized Amalgams, so we're going to flash in a Snapcaster to protect our Soulscar, stop this line of attack. And that was exceptionally greedy, but it would have been a complete blowout for us had they managed to pull that off. So tapped Copperline Gorge here, and they are empty-handed, so can we kill them here? So I've got 3 on board, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we can't quite kill them. Next turn they will be able to Dredge 4, 5. They're very likely to find Creeping Chill, they're very likely to find Nox of Agona, so it'll be a blocker. I think our best bet is just to throw everything we've got at them, hope to draw another Bolt or a Snapcaster. The opponent's now doing the maths here to see if we have got lethal in any formal way. I think we can get close, but we can't quite kill them. But if we draw a Bolt off the top, next turn we should be able to. Like I said, pretty close. Put them to 2 here. So they Dredge Stinkweed Imp, Arid Mesa and Forgotten Cave here. Looks like they got back the Life from the Loam. So they're going to Life from the Loam, get back Forgotten Cave, Arid Mesa, Bloodstained Mire, something like that. Then they'll be able to cycle the Forgotten Cave. Yep. Dredge Life from the Loam back to their hand. Then Dredge the 2 Stinkweed Imps. So there's very little chance that they whiff here. I mean, I think it's possible, but I just can't see a world where they're not just going to dump out everything onto the board here. 4 Creeping Chills in their deck, which, I mean, if they find one of them, then they will win this game. Yep, so there's the Forgotten Cave cycle. Opponent unfortunately is suffering from some lag. Yep, so they find the Creeping Chill. They also find the Ox of Agonis as well. So they absolutely get to rip through their graveyard and deck here. We're going to let them do it, reveal what they can to see if there's any interesting one-offs or spicy sort of numbers in their list that we've got to be wary of. Okay, there come back all of the Prized Amalgams. Yep, Prized Amalgams coming back. They get to Dredge Golgari Thug, Stinkweed Imp. They actually do quite a lot. They find another Creeping Chill, and that is gonna be enough here. Would have found Snapcaster Bolt. Damn. So, gaze their deck. I'm gonna bring in those. Cannonade kills Blood Gas and Archetype, doesn't hit the Ox nor Prized Amalgam, so I'm gonna leave that. Don't think it's worth bringing in the Shattering Sprees. Tarkus Command isn't fantastic here. Probably take out the Growths and I'm going to trim on one Vapor Snag. Okay, I will come back for game 2. Okay, welcome back for game number 2. So to take the play here, we've got a Tormod's Crypt, Monastery Swisspear, Soulscar Mage, some Burn, card selection. Yeah, can't really ask for much more. I think I'm going to have to heavily edit this one. There's, I think my opponent unfortunately is suffering from the lag that they said about. It took the entire time sideboarding, and I may have timed out, not certain. Hopefully that's not the case. So unfortunately, something that you don't like to see, but our opponent did time out there. So whilst we did get the win against Dredge, this hand I think did certainly have enough game against them. You know, drawing cards would have Steam Vents and Soul Scar would really put a clock down against them, and I think this on the play this would have been good enough to at least, you know, challenge for a turn 3, 4 or 5 kill even through one of these faster Dredge hands. As it stands, we'll never know, we'll take whatever win we can get, but I'll come back for match number 4. We are back here for match number 4, taking the play against Alisan922, saying good luck, have fun to them. And probably going to have to mulligan. They are a Yori on deck, so instantly I'm thinking could be 5 colour Niv, could be the blue-white Taxes, could be 5 colour Enigmatic if you're a follower of the channel. Either way, can't keep this hand, so let's send it back. This is better. So we can go get a Steam Vents, play out a Soulscar Mage. Based on that, I'm going to ship a Wizard's Lightning. Hopefully we can fade some early interaction. Would prefer to avoid 5 colour Niv. They've got a lot of Kaya's Guiles and main deck life gain. They've got the 4 colour Omnath. They've got, I mean, there's just a lot of things that we can't really hope to compete with into the mid to late game, so we've got to be the aggressive deck, and this hand could get there. If we get a second land, then we can really start to put the pressure on them. But as it stands, we're going Overgrown Tomb into Birds of Paradise. So we draw a Delver here. I think just for the tempo hit, I'm going to Vapor Snag the Birds of Paradise, get in with the Soulscar Mage, and send it back. Yep, so the Birds of Paradise again from our opponent with a tapped Steam Vent, so this is probably a 5 colour Niv, I'd imagine. We've got a Lightning Bolt here, so I'm going to see if they block or not, and they don't. So I've got an interesting decision. I've got 3, 6, 9, 12 points of burn in hand. We kill this, we're getting 1, so putting them down to 13, 9 points in hand. The other option is to play the Delver. I think the correct play is probably to play out the Delver, so I'm going to do that. Next turn we can bolt the bird if we have to, hoping to fade a Teferi. or something similar. But we'll have to see what our opponent has in store for us first. Omnath would also be bad. I'd really like to avoid Omnath. But their painful mana base could help us as well. So I'd like to fade Omnath here. If they shock in a land, then we have got enough burn to kill them. Could just do with drawing a couple extra lands. But it looks like Esper colours, there's a Teferi, not ideal. But I haven't seen a land so far. I think they have to bounce the Soulscar Mage, but Delver could be the scarier threat. Hopefully no land. Nope, we've got a Misty Rainforest here. And we've got a Sleight of Hand, so I'm going to go to combat first. I'm going to attack Teferi, see if we can get him off the board. We do. I'm going to Sleight of Hand to try and find a land. Find a Scalding Tarn, fantastic. So I'm going to get another Steam Vents, play out the Delver, and they go down to 13. So the Dantha Triome here, they are almost assuredly 5-colour Niv now. I've seen Teferi, birds, triomes, things like that. All 5 colours. Quite torn. I'd like to flip the Delver, but at the same time a land would be best. That would allow us to bolt the bird and then get in for lethal. Okay, so we are seeing Niv Mizzet here. Okay, so wow, okay, so they feel Renin 6, Assassin's Trophy, Lightning Helix, and Teferi. It's not a bad selection of cards. So we get an island, so we're not going to reveal that. We can double bolt Niv here. It's not ideal. So if we let's see what happens. So if we double bolt Niv, then we're getting in for 1, 2, 3, 4, putting them to 9. Then next turn they'll play Lightning Helix, probably hit Soulscar Mage, then Ren, down tick on the Delver. The other option is to attack with just Soulscar Mage, point 1 bolt at Niv, 1 bolt at their face, puts them down to 10, kills Niv. Soulscar would be a 3-4. And then I think that's functionally the same actually. We just need to get a little bit lucky, so this Lightning Helix is going to cause us problems, so let's bolt Niv, put them down to 9, and see if that's enough. We are almost assuredly going to see a Lightning Helix here, or it could just be another Niv Mizzet. Bring to light, okay. You could see an Omnath. Okay, so he draws a card. If they've got a land here, then they'll gain 4. And almost certain this game is unfortunately over. Yeah, that's I've seen enough here. I can cast Renin 6, Lightning Helix, just yeah, that's pretty bad as far as things go. So, what is good here? Veilstorm's not fantastic, they're more of a tap-out control deck. I'm not really interested in that. We've got Cleansing Wildfire, which can do a lot of damage against them. Not too interested in Spell Pierce, but it could be useful. I think the Atarka's commands are a little bit cute. Same with the Mutagenic Growth. Actually, I'll keep the growth and I'll take out a Vapor Snag. Bring those in, disrupt their mana, and go from there. Okay, see you for game number 2. So we're taking the play for game number 2 against 5-colour Niv. Yep, I think this is a very keepable hand. We've got Delver, we can follow that up with a Cleansing Wildfire, Wizard's Lightning. Yep, I like this hand. So we've got Island into Delver. Let's see what they've got. So just a Windswept Heath from our opponent. We don't get the blind flip, unfortunately. So I'll play out the Scalding Tarn, get in with Delver, and say go. You're probably going to see them fetching for one of their 2 Triomes. Tend to play Ketria and Indanta Triome. Yep, there's Ketria. Without any art, I'm not sure if there's a way to... There we go, it's just loaded. Might just be me, but that I don't know, it just really puts me off when the art doesn't load or you get something like that. It's probably silly, but I don't know, can't help it. I'm gonna just bolt them on end step. Okay, so unfortunately we don't find anything to flip Delver. Get in for 1. Temptation here is to Cleansing Wildfire the Triome. I think I'm going to do that. Let's draw a card, see if we can find a Soulscar Mage. No, we find another Wizard's Lightning though, that'd be good. We can put them down to 11 on end step. Okay, basic planes from our opponent here. So we have got Bolt, Snap, Bolt available, which is quite nice. I'm just going to get a Stomping Ground here. Bolt them again. Do we get a flip? We certainly do. I'm not going to crack the Waterlogged Grove, so I want to flash in a Snapcaster Mage on the end step to bolt them. Cycling in and down the Triome here from our opponent. So they are probably a little bit flooded. I'd imagine it's exceptionally easy to do in their deck. Okay, so definitely Clarion just to deal 3. Godless Shrine tapped for our opponent, so we have got them dead to rights here. So we're flashing Snapcaster, target the Wizard's Lightning in our graveyard. Bolt them. Can even do it with Spell Pierce backup if they happen to have Force and Negation, so that's fantastic. I'll make sure to leave up the Waterlogged Grove. And exactly lethal. Okay, so we do get a game 3 against our opponent here. The Cleansing Wildfire, I'm not sure how good or relevant it was, but it certainly looked quite good there. These Vapor Snags aren't looking fantastic, maybe just defensively, but I'm not sure that's where we ideally want to be unless we're buying back Snapcaster Mages. Even then, is that better than just something like Anataka's Command? I'm going to go with yes and run it back. So game number 3 here. Got a slightly quicker hand than last time, so we've got Swift Spear and Wizard's Lightning, which is a bit of a numbo unfortunately. The opponent is keeping 7. I'm going to keep this. So Misty Rainforest, fetching, and we're going to see a Birds here, or Noble Hierarch. No, just a Utopia Sprawl. Instead of the Swift Spear, I'm going to go with the Delver. It means we do get to next turn. If we find an untapped red source, go Swift Spear into Wizard's Lightning and then attack. It would mean we wouldn't be flipping the Delver, but can't have everything. Land would also get us closer to the Snapcaster Mage, which would be great. Okay, after a long pause, we've got Windswept Heath, cracking it immediately, so we may be seeing a Teferi. Could just be a Deafening Clarion just to kill the Delver, that'd be quite preemptive. And a Shock as well, Stomping Ground for our opponent, so it could be Ren and 6, that they maybe didn't quite sequence the Sprawl naming right here. So going Sprawl onto the Stomping Ground, I think it could be Teferi if they name blue. Could also be Kaya's Guile if they name black. Nope, blue, so it is Teferi. Or more likely than not to be Teferi. Okay, an Abundant Growth to draw a card. We've now got Azorius in the pool, which they let go. Very happy to see that. Means we get to at least get one more attack in with the Delver. Can we get a flip? No, we don't. But we do find the mountain for Swift Spear. So we'll use that. Just get in straight away. Down to 13, then we'll hit them down to 10. Could be setting up for a very early Bring to Light here. If they've got a land, then that'll be a turn 3 Niv-Mizzet. No, it's just a turn 3 Omnath, which is, as weird as it sounds, far worse. So now if they've got a fetch land, which they almost assuredly will have, they'll get to draw a card, gain, 4 life, and then add 4 mana. So then we'll be able to Omnath into Niv-Mizzet, which is just horrendous. Just horrendous for us. No, Teferi, that's still pretty bad. So we've got a Mutagenic Growth here. I do quite like that, so that means that we can quite handedly swing through this Omnath. We'll probably have another land in hand just to gain more life. I mean, getting 4 life a turn is so egregious. That's not a good sign that they're wanting to cash in their Omnath. With that, I'm going to probably regret this, but I'm going to commit to the board, kill that Teferi. This means we can never hold up Spell Pierce again. We lose a lot of our onboard tricks. Oh, please don't have another one. Oh, bloody hell. Yep, so that's another Omnath. does sort of feel like we're playing a different class of Magic here. We're trying to be quite efficient with spells and sort of one for one in getting incremental value, whereas the opponent is playing some of the most powerful mistakes of 2019 onwards, particularly Teferi and Omnath. I mean, I'm not trying to be salty, please don't get the wrong impression, but this card is just a very big mistake. So much text. So much text. Well, does that help? Does that help us? We can blow this up regardless. Do want to hold up blue. Let's try and draw a card to at least cut them off 2 mana. Bloody Utopia's for all and the Abundant Growth. This means they no longer have access to blue unless they get a basic island here, which they do. Of course, that gains them life. Yes. I'm just going to scoop it up knowing that they've got Yorion coming down. But yeah, that was not great. Okay, so onwards and upwards, we'll go into match number 5. So we are back here for match number 5. And we're against Control Freak, a good friend of mine, Mike, who is almost assuredly playing Death Shadow. So, we've got an interesting hand here. We've got turn 1 Delver, followed up by Swift Spear, hold up Spell Pierce and Wizard's Lightning. I think I'm going to lead on the Swift Spear, try and find a land to hold up Spell Pierce to protect the Delver. But all in all, I think this is a keep. You can see which variant of Shadow is on now. It didn't reveal Lura, so I'm thinking instantly it's going to be Grixis, I'd imagine. Okay, Bloodstained Mire into Fetch Shock Watery Grave. Holding up some kind of removal, I'd imagine. So we drew a second Delver. I think I still want to play out the Swift Spear and force him to utilise that removal. We're going to see a Fatal Push here. Yep. Bloodstained Mire, and what have we got? Hopefully a land. We do indeed find a land, so we'll go Fiery Islet into Delver. Hopefully we don't see a bolt or push on end step, we can save it for their turn. Blood Crypt Shock, so it is Grixis. Which means you have to be aware of things like Gurmag Angler, Stomp. Absolutely none of that, thank you. That's quite a nice, it's almost like a 2-for-1 when you hit a Bone Crusher Giant with a Spell Pierce, but they have got a Shadow now, it would seem, or Snapcaster into Fatal Push. It's not by spending his resources trying to kill our threats when we have got multiple ones. So we get to find a Serum Visions here. Find another Delver, so I'm going to bottom the Mutagenic Growth and top the Wooded Foothills, which I know seems very... it seems a bit daft, but I don't value the flip as much as I value the land, so I'm not going to take this trade. Let's see a Street Raid Cycle. Into a Gurmag Angler. So I'm not going to reveal the Wooded Foothills. We could play out the Delver here. The other option is to The other option is to hold up Snapcaster for Spell Pierce, or Ataka's Command. A lot of their removal is going to be 1 CMC. Maybe pushes, bolts, things like that. I think we'll just play out the second Delver actually. And we can Wizard's Lightning them on end step if we need to, or Ataka's Command. Going straight to combat here. So do we die to TBR? That's the question. So Gomag Angler, Double Strike and Trample will be 10. Snapcaster to be 2, so I'm going to make him have it if we go down that line. No, he doesn't have that. Okay. So I'm just going to get a Stomping Ground down to 4 here. Ataka's Command deals 3. They go down to 3. Hope they don't have a bolt. So we are just dead to bolt here, but we would have been anyway. Oh, Stubborn Denial. Boo. Boo. Boo that man. So do we get the flip? We do not. So we can go straight to combat here. Attack with... chump the Gurmag with a Snapcaster, and then we've got to play highest upside here. He has his own, so he's got Stubborn Denial. It's trade off Snapcaster for Delver, which is pretty good on their end. So we'll just bolt the Snapcaster now. Let him take one of them. And the TBR does kill us. Okay, so we did have it expertly navigated from Mike. So, Grixis Death Shadow, interesting one for us. Dispels definitely come in. Ataka's Command come out, so the Mutagenic Growths. The Veil of Summers come in. Vapor Snag is very good against Gurmag Angler, but it's not too good against Snapcaster and not great against Death Shadow itself. I would prefer some more direct burn. I don't think we want to fight them on the graveyard axis. Could be worth bringing in Life Goes On, but I think it's a bit cute. So I'll just bring in the Veils and the Dispels and throw it back. Death Shadow is an interesting one. I don't think our build is particularly well suited to fight that kind of deck. We are going to struggle very much with a Gomag Angler. We are really set up to play, the tempo game, and they do what we're trying to do, just a little bit better. So if we can get ahead, I think we can deplete them quick enough. They know what we're doing now, so they're not going to be as aggressive with their life total. All in all though, I think we stand a good chance. I'll see you for game number 2. So back on the play for game 2. And I think I'm going to keep this. We've got Dispel and Veil early on for any of their discard. I think I'm going to keep this. So we'll Scalding Tarn and go. We'll fetch a... probably a... we could get a breeding pool so that we've got access to green. We could just get a... if we get a breeding pool, we can't hold up Dispel and Veil and play Swift Spear. Sorry, unless we get a breeding pool, so we'll do that. So we'll run out the higher value threat second, so we'll just play a Swift Spear. And just attack them for 1. I probably won't fight over a Swift Spear if they decide to push it. I'd much rather protect what we've got in hand, keep the Dispel secret. I think I'd rather try and protect the Delver or keep our hand a secret rather than try to fight over just a Monastery Swift Spear, particularly as we haven't got the burn to back it up. This telegraphs the Veil of Summer. Mike's smart enough to know that, but we may not have a choice but to play into it. Stomp, okay, so we'll just dispel that. I don't want him gaining too much value off the Bone Crusher Giant. It's going to be very hard for us to deal with. This does allow him to land a Gomag Angler if he's got a fetch land. So, yeah, so even worse, he's got a Thought Scour, which means he gets to be even pickier. It does mill over a Gomag, unfortunately for him. He's got a Watery Grave, which could be shocked in. So we're going to see Thoughtseize or a Shadow. We see a Gomag. And do we get the blind flip? Oh, I think we will. We do not. Okay. So I think we'll just hold up Wizard's Lightning and Veil of Summer here. Okay, Gomag Angler getting in. We're absolutely not blocking. So see the first Death Shadow here, followed by a second Death Shadow. Okay, not too shabby. So can we, if we draw a land, we can snap Bolt, so we can put them down to 8 here. That grows the shadows into double lethal. So it's probably best not to do that. We'll flip off a Spell Pierce. We can at least protect ourselves off TBR. Just going to try and get in here, see if we can. Put him down to 8. And we're going to play out the Soul Scar Mage to chump. Sit behind Veil of Summer and Spell Pierce, hope that's enough, then untap. If we draw a red source, we'll be able to fly over and double bolt. So he's targeting himself with the bauble there. Yeah, so he's got lethal here, unfortunately. And that wraps it up. Okay, so I will be back with you for the wrap-up. Welcome back for the wrap-up. So with 2-3'd, well, I suppose 2-3 is a little bit generous. 1-3'd really, and we got a free win against Dredge. Overall, going through the matches, we beat Goblins, we lost to Storm, we lost to 5-colour Niv, and we just lost to Grixis Death Shadow. For the Delver matchup, traditionally, things like the Storm and 5-colour Niv or Durdly mid-range decks would usually be very good matchups, but against this version, that's very light on permission, it's only got 8 bolt effects or something similar, 4 of which are conditional. The deck felt very clunky, like it was a little bit at odds with itself. I think these Atarka's commands, yeah, they did win us one game, but for the most part, really weren't good at all. And I'm not happy including those in the future. I think going forward, if we're going to build a Delver list, I think blue-red would be better, but if you had to play Temur, then I think some configuration of either Goyce, Hex Drinkers, and maybe Hooting Mandrills would be better. I wasn't impressed with the Swift Spear Wizard's Lightning interaction. I wasn't impressed with the Delver Wizard's Lightning interaction, because obviously, as explained in the intro, the flip changes the creature type from Wizard to Insect, and that came up so many times. I just didn't like it at all. I think not being able to properly set up flips of Delvers with these Serum Visions, because we're trying to dig for lands, because we're trying to dig for the right kind of interaction. That kind of stuff does come up occasionally, it's variance, it happens, but this deck is not built in a way which lends itself to, you know, sort of battling through that variance more times than not. I would like to play a Delver list again, but I think maybe going down a Grixis or Temur with heavier creature base, maybe swapping these Soul Scars out for Hex Drinkers, something like that, or a couple of 2 Hex Drinkers, maybe 2 more Swift Spears, dropping the Wizard's Lightning plan, dropping the Dreadhorde Arcanist plan, maybe bringing in some configuration of Tarmogoyfs, bringing in Mana Leaks, bringing in more permission, just to allow us to get over the line. Something like Archmage's Charm might be something that'd be useful. Going really heavy blue, splashing the other colours. I think that'd be something that I'd be more interested in doing. As for the sideboard, not a lot really came up. The Dispels and Veil of Summer, they were pretty good as things go. We didn't get to see the Tormod's Crypt against Dredge, due to the disconnection from our opponent, and these Cleansing Wildfires were pretty good. I don't know, we didn't really get to see the kind of matchups that this sideboard was trying to cater for. So, is that the sign of a good sideboard? Not really, but it was a very weird set of matches. So, all things considered, I enjoy playing the deck, but I do think it has some fundamental design flaws that I would like to overcome and tackle before I run this back again. So in terms of Jank or Genius, it's still ebbing on the Jank side, but it certainly has a basis to build upon and get better. With all that out of the way, if you like the content and you want to see more of this deck, let me know. If not, let me know, and I'd appreciate you for sticking around. Thanks, and see you later. Cheers.